I know in Unit 1, you heard me refer to pairs and mention pairs and say the word pairs multiple times, a Forex pair, even though I hadn't yet explained to you what pairs were. And that is why we are choosing the concept Forex pairs and pair types for us to kick off Unit 2 for critical concepts and terms that you have to know in order to trade Forex. We're starting with pairs, and currency is always traded in what are called pairs. Pairs are the national currencies from two different countries that are coupled up for the purpose of being traded in the Forex marketplace. In a pair, listen, one currency is always being bought and one currency is always being sold. You remember back in Unit 1 that my example of traveling from the United States, which the national currency is the US dollar, to Japan, where the national currency is the yen, that you would have to exchange one currency for another. In a pair, one currency is always being bought and one currency is always being sold. Now, there are 8 main and most tradable currencies in the world, and you need to become very familiar with these. Take notes and begin to familiarize yourself with these 8 main currencies and their code. So just kind of going over, you have the US dollar, you have the Australian dollar, the Canadian dollar, the euro, the British pound, the Swiss franc, the New Zealand dollar, and the Japanese yen. Since currencies must be traded in pairs, out of those 8 currencies, there are 28 different currency pair combinations that can be derived from those currencies alone. And pairs are listed according to a 3-letter code that is unique and only assigned to that specific currency. And the currency pairs are always quoted in the same given order. For instance, in the pair, just as you see listed here, the euro US dollar, you are trading the euro dollar against the US dollar. The pair is always listed as Euro USD and never reversed as the USD Euro. That is something that you definitely will become familiar with in Forex. The pairs have a specific listing order. Now, the other side of this is while there are many official currencies that are used all over the world, there are only relatively a small handful of currencies that are stable enough, both politically and economically, to be demanded in sufficient quantities, resulting in being actively trading on the Forex exchange. You have the 8 main currencies that we just went over, but then those 8 currencies that are put into pairs are broken further into groups, and you have pairs that are majors, pairs that are crosses or minors. You'll hear them referred to both ways, and you have pairs that are exotics. Now, the major pairs include all of the 8 tradable currency pairs that contain the US dollar. These pairs are always trading at a high volume, and they are offered by every Forex broker. The crosses are the minors. The crosses are the currency pairs that do not trade against the US dollar, but are also part of the 8 major currencies. 2 examples of this would be the Aussie New Zealand dollar, and then you have the UK, Japan, or the pound yen, and all of these currencies that are part of the 8 main worldwide currencies, but the pair does not contain the US dollar. So we have the list that I gave you on the slide right before this. So all of the crosses or minors are going to be on that list, but they're going to be pairs that don't have the US dollar in them. Most Forex brokers, I haven't come across one that didn't, but most Forex brokers allow the trading of all the crosses. But you have to check with your broker. They will always have an instrument list to be sure that your pair is offered if you choose to trade some of the cross pairs. And I do. I trade some of the cross pairs. Exotics are the currency pairs that are made up of one major currency, paired with the currency of an emerging economy. Now, these pairs usually have a much lower trade volume than the majors or the crosses, and so the broker transaction cost can be much larger, and a lot of times just not even on what is doable for most individual retail traders. You always need to know what not only the commission is, but what that spread is. And on the exotics, the spread is a lot of times really, really large, and that can affect your trading plan and your trade setup. If you usually run a stop loss, say, of 20 pips, but the spread is 36 pips, you've already lost before you've even placed the trade. So you need to know what that spread is. And so a lot of times the exotics really just aren't in the trading style or the trading plan, or they're just so expensive to trade that most retail traders don't trade those. Now, I have in my first year and a half of trading, I traded several exotics and I actually loved them. They were fun to me, but I did have to adjust my strategy, and I did have to adjust sometimes the stop loss being really a lot larger than I would have even considered on some of the majors or crosses. So you can take a look at that, but again, those are the three groups that Forex pairs then are broken down further into from just your 8 main currencies. Let's dive a little bit deeper into major pairs. So the majors are the pairs that are traded most frequently and have the most movement, providing many trading opportunities, which that is what you want. You want volume and liquidity. In order to be consistently profitable, you need to be able to have entries and setups that fit your trading plan. And all of the major pairs include trading for or against the US dollar. And due to lower spreads and commissions of the majors, coupled with higher liquidity, most retail traders use at least one of the pairs in the majors and in their trading plan, or at least in their watch list. The 7 major currency pairs, along with their country and nickname, are listed here, and you need to read over these. You need to familiarize yourself with these major currency pairs, with not only their code, with their country and their nickname. And you will have people and be exposed to teachings and people who refer to different pairs different ways at different times. For instance, on the pound dollar here, you will hear people refer to it as the pound dollar or GU. For the Australian dollar, you'll hear people refer to it as the Aussie dollar or AU. You've already heard me refer to the euro dollar as euro dollar. I don't really say EU, and you don't hear as many people saying that, but you need to have it to where when somebody says an initial that you know exactly what it is. And so it's not that much that you need to necessarily memorize. And the truth is, you don't even have to memorize it, but you need to start exposing yourself to these, because even if you don't memorize it on purpose, I'm telling you, you're going to be exposed to it so much, it will become second nature to you. And while I've listed the majors here, it would be worth it to you to sometimes check out all of the crosses as well as the exotics, just for the exposure to the currencies that are out there on the market. Different brokers allow certain pairs to be traded. And while all brokers will have the majors listed in their available instrument trading list, brokers will be wildly different in the crosses and the exotics that they allow. This is a further list of the most popular currency pairs that brokers allow due to their high volume. This list includes majors and crosses, and you will see many retail traders using different combinations of the pairs in this currency list as the foundation of their trading plan watch list. So this is a really good starting point for you of the most popular pairs, and there's a reason why they're most popular. Again, volume, liquidity. Either, a lot of times they'll have patterns that they tend to follow. We covered that back in Unit 1, where certain times of the day, depending on what sessions are open, you can have, a lot of momentum. You can have ranging at certain times of the day, and all of that comes into play and influences your strategy. It's good, though, to become very familiar with the pairs, the country, the nickname of these, as you will see many traders talk about them, as well as common news announcements and commodity correlations. And like I said, you will begin to breathe, eat, sleep, and dream these pairs, these nicknames, these abbreviations. So don't stress over it, but do expose yourself to it continuously so that it is easy for you to know and follow what people are talking about, what pairs you tend to like or are drawn towards or respond very well to your trading plan, especially as you go forward and learn how to set up those strategy, how to find an edge in the market, and you're beginning to study your pairs or find out, where your trading preference or style is a great match for. And just remember that for those of you who have gone to the website and course, I will have these charts plus some extra resources and downloadable charts for you to print out or to download and save on your computer or tablet or whatever you trade on, so that you can have a list of all of the exotics, crosses, majors. So you can get these charts there if you log in, if you want them. And again, there are notes pages where you can add your notes and thoughts and questions there.